We're joined now by the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott. He has been in the midst of a big battle. And, Governor, I appreciate you joining us. Let's start with this. The redistricting that would potentially add 5 Republican seats has led to Democrats fleeing your state. Most of them, it appears, have gone to Illinois, which is among the most gerrymandered of all states. They have 14 Democrat seats, 3 Republican seats, despite the fact that President Trump got around 45% of the vote there in 2024. Of all the places they could have run, that seems like a really interesting choice to have made. What's the latest you can tell us about them potentially having to come back and do their jobs as elected legislator members?
Well, for one, you just pointed out the hypocrisy of these Democrats. It's not just the hypocrisy of the Democrats in Texas. It's the hypocrisy of the Democrats in Illinois as well as across the entire country who are saying that Texas should not be doing this redistricting. When you look at Illinois, when you look at California, when you look at New York, when you look at Massachusetts, when you look at all the blue states, that is the epitome of gerrymandering, what the Democrats have done. And what Texas is doing, we're just trying to draw lines to allow voters to vote for the candidate of their choice. Easy example, and that's in each of these 5 seats that we're going to add, Trump won those 5 seats. The candidate of choice is Donald Trump and a Republican. Democrats have a problem in Texas because they think they had a, quote, ownership right to Hispanic and black voters, and now it turned out that Hispanic voters and black voters are voting Republican, not Democrat. So they have all kinds of problems. But where we stand procedurally in all of this, and that is that I took action yesterday in a proceeding to vacate or remove from office the leader of this runaway renegade group of Democrats, and filed a proceeding in the Texas Supreme Court. The Texas Supreme Court immediately ordered the leader of the runaway Democrats, his name is Jing Wu, to file papers in the Supreme Court by Friday to respond to my allegations because we are seeking to remove him from office and to hold these people accountable because we cannot conduct business in the state of Texas because they've broken a quorum. And so for one, we're going to hold them accountable. For another, arrest warrants are out for all of them. And we're searching across the state of Texas to find out if there are any Democrats in the state of Texas. And if there are, we're going to be arresting them. And we will have Department of Public Safety officers working across the country to try to identify them. And know this, because I think the Democrats who are in Illinois, New York, et cetera, don't know this, and that is the FBI is out looking for them also. So we're going to track them down and get them back. But the last point is this. This is total futility by the Democrats. They've tried this before multiple times since I've been governor. And what happens is a special session in Texas lasts 30 days, and they eventually have to come back. And when they come back, they'll be arrested, sent to the Capitol, and we're going to get past what was on the agenda just like we have every other time.
Why do you think they're doing this? Like, let's pretend that you were not the governor of Texas trying to enact a law as you were elected to do, and instead you were trying to just sit out there and you're looking at this and you're saying, what is their game plan here? You just laid out why it's not going to work. What do you think they are thinking they are gaining from this?
I don't think that they are thinking, to be honest.
That's a good answer, by the way.
The reality is they're losing bad from this, and we've seen it happen before. I'll tell you what's happened in the past and why it's going to be repeated again, and that is everyone listening to this show, every average Texan in the state of Texas, they have to show up for work, and if they don't show up for work, I'm going to boycott today. I'm going to break quorum. I'm not going to go do my job. I'm going to leave and go to Illinois. They'd be fired. And so what these Democrats are doing, they're angering the average Texas voter, the swing voter, if you would, who thinks, well, they got to go to work, but these rogue Democrats don't have to go to work. And then to make this even more impactful against these Democrats, I called a special session, which lasts 30 days. And I put 18 items on that session, the first of which were 4 items to deal with the tragic floods that took place in Central Texas where we lost more than 100 Texans. They lost their life because of that flood. And we need remedies such as warning systems, other strategies for rivers and flooding. We need laws passed that will protect the lives of Texans in the future. And the reason why those laws are not being passed, the reason why the resources are not being provided to the fellow Texans who need those resources is because Democrats are holed up in Chicago and New York and leftist states across the country.
We're talking to the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott. One of the things that I think is a huge part of this story that isn't being talked about enough, and I'd like to get your reaction to this, is one reason you can redraw congressional maps and redraw lines is because of the surge in Hispanic support for Republicans across the state of Texas. Some people out there on the left are saying, oh, this is racist. What it actually represents is the majority of Hispanics in Texas voted for Donald Trump. They're now voting for you. They are voting Republican. And it has fundamentally altered the map, including in particular down along the border in South Texas. For people who may not know, what has happened, what has the data shown about Hispanic voters, men in particular, but also a lot of women, flooding in to support Republicans?
Well, all you had to do was take a look at the map of Texas on the night of the presidential election and saw all of the counties on the border that Donald Trump won that had been blue for more than 100 years, and they were red under Donald Trump. But, Clay, get this very important fact, because this just obliterates any claim of racism. Let me tell you what these maps do. 4 of the new districts we are creating are predominant Hispanic districts. And so it just turns out they're Hispanic Republicans. But this is these are going to be Hispanic districts, and we preserve the Barbara Jordan district. And Houston, Barbara Jordan was a well-known black member of Congress for a long time, and her district had been broken apart, and we're putting it back together. We're restoring that district. And so any allegations about race playing a role adverse to Democrats here is nothing but just an outright lie.
We're talking to the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, much less significant. So we talked redistricting, the battle there. We talked, obviously, the flood, all of that. The Texas Longhorns are number 1 in the country and open the season on the road at Ohio State in about, I think, 4 weeks from when we're talking right now. Are the Longhorns the best team in the country?
So I think the Longhorns have the best defense in the country. A lot of returners, and at every position, whether they're on the line, they may have the best 2 defensive ends in the country, the best linebacking core, the best defensive backfield. So their defense, which I think was ranked something like number 3rd in the nation last year, is going to be very stout, very hard to score upon. On offense, there's a lot of new faces. On the offensive line, at quarterback, obviously, is going to be the big debut of Arch Manning. And because the offensive line players, they played a lot of snaps, and because Arch himself was able to play a lot of snaps, they have a sense of what to do. That said, as you know, if you go into the Ohio State Stadium and play a game there, it kind of doesn't matter who you are. That's a tough game. I will remind you of this, however. The last time that the University of Texas Longhorns played at the Shoe at Ohio State, they won. They defeated Ohio State, led by quarterback Vince Young. And we have a transformational quarterback like that in Arch Manning this year, and I think he's going to be able to go there, lead them to victory once again against an Ohio State team that itself is having to go through a rebuilding year.
No doubt. Governor, feel free. Come on anytime. We're different times of the year. Number 1 in Austin, number 1 in Houston. Highly rated all over your state. So we appreciate everybody out there listening in the Lone Star State. Good luck to the Longhorns, and only about 4 weeks till football season gets rolling.
Take care. Always great to visit with you. Thanks so much, Clay.
Appreciate that. Governor of Texas, Greg Abbott. You guys can react to that, 800-282-2882. We will continue to roll. We'll get some of your talkbacks and some of your calls as well. But for those of you out there, maybe you got elderly parents, grandparents, they don't use cell phones well. How about rapid radios? Maybe you got, like I do, a young kid. I got a 10-year-old out there. You know what he loves? Old school rapid radios. We let him run around with it. We use it for football. I was just talking about the Texas-Ohio State game. Sometimes you go on the road for football games, the whole cell phone networks, it feels, get overloaded. You ever try to download tickets on your phone now? You know how frustrating that can be? The Wi-Fi networks get overwhelmed, cell phone networks. But you know what happens? Inevitably, there's always like one person who says, oh, I got full bars. I got no issue at all. And you're trying to figure out, how does that person able to send text messages? How are they able to make a call? What Rapid Radios does, and it's really remarkable, is they use the entire cell phone network. So it doesn't matter what you are signed up for. This is a non-tech, right? So you're not using it for text messages. You're not using it for the internet. You just pick it up and you talk old school. Like when we were kids, we had those G.I. Joe walkie-talkies. We'd be in two different cars talking back and forth. This is like that, except way better, nationwide. It works everywhere. Why not use this as a backup for your cell phones, or to use in the event of catastrophe, because these things last for 5 days? Or maybe you're like me and you live in a place where sometimes you don't get great reception on your cell phone itself, and you want to be able to stay in touch with your family. You can get hooked up now. Visit rapidradios.com, save up to 60%, get free UPS shipping from Michigan, and get hooked up even more when you use code RADIO for an extra 5% off. That's code RADIO, rapidradios.com, code RADIO, 60% off, free